welcome to Skein Studio. My name is Kristen. You can find me on Ravelry as K10 and on Instagram as Skein Yarn. Hope you're all doing really well, and I just wanted to say a big hello to all of you who have joined me from Hohi's podcast, Hohi's Journal. I woke up last week to lots of new followers, so with a little searching I realised it was Hohi who had mentioned this podcast, which is so nice. I do watch her podcast, but I actually haven't watched that episode yet, so I'm going to be catching up with her this week. I might just shut that window. That's better. Yeah, so a big welcome to all of you, and of course welcome to everyone who is coming back. It's really lovely to have you watching, and I appreciate comments and your emails and all that sort of stuff, so thank you. It makes me feel like I'm not just talking to myself, which sometimes it feels like I'm doing. Yeah, so let's get into it. I'll start with studio news. So this week and the week before in the studio, we have been organising all of our yarn and things for the West Knits Yarn Along, which went on sale last week, or actually it was last Sunday, and it sold out in record time. So there's 3 dyers who are taking part of the West Knits Yarn Along. It's us, Ushatita and La Bien-Amie. So it's going to be really good. I can't wait to see what the other colours the other dyers have dyed up, and I can't wait to see Stephen West's designs. They're always fantastic. And there's also 3 gift makers as well. There is the Field Supply people, Cat Wrinkles, I think that's her name, and ooh, there was someone else which I can't remember, but it's just going to be amazing. So yes, it's a lot of prep. We have organised all the yarn. We organised it months ago. But that is being delivered now, and we're sort of getting it in stages, so we're not sort of bombarded all at once with a big shipment, because there's a lot of yarn. So yeah, that's interesting. And I spoke last time about having problems with the yarn delivery, but that's all sorted out, so that's fantastic. All of our yarn has started coming in and there's no problems, so thank goodness for that. Yeah, so basically we have, I think, another week left of normal update dyeing, and then I think after that we start the West Knits dyeing. So that will take us around 2 weeks to do all that, and that's everyday dyeing. So I won't have any time for I'll have time for a podcast, but I won't have time for regular updates, but we might put a club out because we haven't done one of those for a while, so that, if you're interested, keep an eye out for that. And the other thing that happened was we got in a new base, which I will be showing you a bit later because I started knitting with it. It's a shimmer base. It's called Shimmer. We had a shimmer yarn previously, but we've sort of swapped the base over to this new shimmer base. And what I mean by shimmer is it's a merino nylon and it has a bit of stellina in it. Our last lot of shimmer had a tiny bit of stellina. This has like a lot, so it's quite amazing. I know Hohi is knitting up some socks that she designed with our yarn and Miss Babs, and I've already spoken to her about putting some kits together for her sock yarn. She did find that knitting with the 2 different bases with socks, one was thicker and the other thinner, so her gauge was a bit off, which can happen. So she's recommending with this new design that people choose either Miss Babs or our yarn and just stick with that one base. That way you get a nice even gauge, which is a good idea. Okay, in knitting news, I have some progress on my new cardigan, which I showed last time, and I did mention that this is a very simple design, and it's obviously it's a new design that I'm working on. I have knit, I knit a cardigan like this maybe a year or two ago, and it was a design that I came up with, but I wasn't really happy with it. And then about, I think a few months ago, we had family over, and I had my nieces here, and they really wanted to have a look at all my knits, and I pulled everything out and they were trying things on. And one of the pieces that they tried on was this design that I had done, and I was actually quite pleased with it. I think it's funny, it's like, I think most people feel this way when you create something. I mean, it's even the same when I do dyeing. I feel like I get really nervous that other people are going to like it, and particularly with the designing side, I tend to design a lot of things and then I just put them away and I just think they're not good enough. So I'm trying to be brave this year and design things and just put it out there and see what happens. Anyway, this is one of those. So it's exactly the same design as what I did previously, but I've changed the stitch pattern. I did have like a little tiny eyelet design with the previous one that I made, which actually I don't have it to show you because one of my nieces loved it, so she ended up taking it home, which was very cute. So yeah, I've just changed the stitch pattern, but everything else is the same. Alright, so what it is, it's basically one huge rectangle with armholes, and it's so easy to knit. There's no shaping, you just knit a big rectangle. When you get to the armholes, you just bind off your stitches, and then on the next row you cast on backward loop the stitches that you just bound off, and that's your armhole. And it's really simple. How do I have that? I have it round the wrong way. That's it. Is that it? Yeah. So it's really nice, sort of airy lace that when you knit it, it's all kind of crinkled up. But then I know from blocking the swatch that it just stretches out really nicely. And the good thing about this cardigan is you can actually, because I know with most cardigans and jumpers, because of the shape and how it sort of sits, it's really hard to block it, particularly when it's lace, because you don't want to pull it too much and stretch it out of shape. But at least with this, it's just one big square, sort of like a wrap, so you can easily pull it and stretch the lace out. So you are actually knitting from side to side? How would you say that? Top to bottom? I don't know. So it's not around, it's like sideways. Sideways. You're knitting sideways. So obviously casting on down here and knitting away, and that's the top part. How it sits, because it's not shaped around the shoulders, it kind of, the front part sort of lays over your shoulder like a scarf or a shawl, and it, I guess you would call it a waterfall collar. So that means that it's not shaped, it just kind of sits like a waterfall. Sits like a waterfall. Cascades down your shoulder, I guess. What was I going to say? Yeah, so there's no kind of structure. So my idea was, I was initially thinking of putting buttons in, so you could actually button it up and have it, yeah, close it up. But then I thought what would be really nice is to use a shawl pin for a closure, because I have a really nice, it's a very simple shawl pin that my brother and his partner bought me from Chile. They actually went to this little island, and I've forgotten the name because I meant to mention it ages ago when they got back. But it's this little island off Chile, and their main production is wool, and they have lots of knitwear. They actually bought me this huge big woven wrap, which is beautiful, and it smells like sheep, like it's really rustic. I actually have it at the bottom of my bed. It's really pretty. So they got me this cute little shawl pin, and with my shawls and things, I don't use shawl pins. I just wrap them around like a scarf, and I just thought this would be a really nice way to show off a shawl pin, because you could wear it closed with a nice little shawl pin, or you could leave it open and have the shawl pin as almost like a little brooch. So yeah, I mean, it's coming along really nicely. It's the lace pattern is really simple. It's like a 8-row lace repeat, and it's the type of lace that you can read as you go. So when you can actually look back at previous rows, and you know where you're up to with the next row. So yeah, it's basically very easy. I am going to pick up stitches for the arms, and I'm still deciding whether I want to have 3/4 sleeves, full length sleeves, or short sleeves. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Tell me, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Do you think this would look good with long sleeves? Or, I mean, I could probably write up a pattern that has short sleeves and long sleeves. Yeah, what else was I going to say? That's about it, really. Oh, the yarn is our new Polworth sock, which I have mentioned in the past. It does feel a little bit, no, I wouldn't say scratchy, but it's rustic, and I actually, feeling it and knitting it, I've actually, it feels like it's lost that scratchy, well, it's not really scratchy, but that harsh feeling. It actually feels quite soft to me, which is kind of weird. But I do know that this yarn, when I got it in raw, when I felt it, it was actually quite scratchy, and I was a little bit worried about that, because I know people like soft yarn. I mean, not everybody, there's lots of people out there who like rustic yarn. I'm one of them. And it is a New Zealand Polworth, so it is quite a natural yarn anyway. But when I dyed it and washed it, it actually felt softer. So I think with knitting it, and then hopefully again with another wash, it'll probably soften up quite a lot. And this is the Storm colourway, which is a tonal grey, and there's a little bit of brown and purple in there as well. And yeah, really enjoying it. It's coming along really fast too. I think I cast this on 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's all I have left really is the last, what is that, left front, and then just the sleeves. Oh, and the other thing is too, what do you think with this? Should I do the sleeves in the lace, or should I do the sleeves in stockinette stitch? I don't know. I'm undecided, but I'd like to hear what you think. So that's that. The new shawl that I showed last week actually has I keep saying last podcast, has a name. It's called the Little Arrow Shawl, and I didn't bring it up with me, but I showed you last time, so it doesn't matter. And I had the pattern tech edited, which it's just amazing the amount of things that you miss when you write up your patterns. It's so good having someone check your math and check your charts and check spelling, because I mean, my spelling is not the greatest. I love reading and I did very well at English, but for some reason I just have this real problem with spelling. So anyway, even though there was a spell check, there was a few things that got through. But yes, the tech editor that I use, Kate, she's fantastic. So she did a lot of work on it and sent it back, and it was great. And then the last, I guess, test for the pattern is the test knitters, and I put a call out, was it yesterday or the day before, for some test knitters, and I got quite a few, so that's really good. I can't wait to see their progress pictures, which if you are on Instagram, it's hashtag little arrow shawl, and you can check it out. And finally, I cast on a pair of socks, just vanilla socks. This is using that new yarn base that I was talking about, the shimmer, which is here. You can see it all sparkly. It's so pretty. It was so funny because last week was Easter and we had an Easter update, and I actually got this shipment in. This was one of the boxes that sort of took forever to get to us. Anyway, when it arrived, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This would be like the perfect Easter update with all the sparkle. Anyway, when I dyed it all up, the studio was just sparkling. It was just amazing. So this is called Space Oddity, and it's just a basic top-down sock. If you're looking for a vanilla sock pattern, this is the one that I wrote up. It's very basic. It's just called Vanilla. It's on Ravelry. It's free. And all I have left to do is Kitchener stitch the top of the toe, and I'm done. Well, half done. So yeah, and I've been enjoying this, knitting this in front of the TV. It's so nice. I actually started these socks because I ran out of yarn for the cardigan, as in I needed to cake up a couple of skeins, and it was just too late and I just couldn't be bothered, so I started these socks, and yeah, I can't put them down. Yeah, so that's my knitting for the last couple of weeks. On to sewing. So last time I spoke to you, I was going to make another key Largo top. This is from Hey June. And I spoke about the last two tops that I made and how they were a bit too short, and funnily enough, one of them has shrunk. My one actually shrank more. So each time I wash it, it seems to get shorter and shorter. But anyway, I've learnt by that, and I added 3 inches to the pattern, and I had this fabric left over. I was actually going to make another Pussybow blouse by Sew Over It, and I showed you the one that I made last time, and I bought 2 lots of fabric for that, and this is the second fabric that I bought. I've already cut the pattern out and everything, so I had quite a lot left over. And I decided to whip up another key Largo top out of it. Oh, it's a bit creased. It's been hanging in my wardrobe, but that's it there. It's really sweet. It is see-through, but I have a little white camisole that I can wear underneath, and I was going to actually wear this today to show you, but it's really hot outside, so I just couldn't put layers on. It's just too hot, which is crazy because it's meant to be autumn and it's still full summer here. Yeah, so if you're looking for a really basic top pattern, this is fantastic. And like I mentioned last week, you can actually do ties as well. You can have it cut on the bias, so if you want a bit of a different look with stripes and patterns and things, you can do that too. You can also make this, because the actual pattern is for woven, any type of woven fabric. So you could actually, I was thinking, you could actually buy some really nice silk fabric and not have the sleeves, but do like a binding, so you have like a shell top. That'd be really nice. So yeah, that was one make. And then I thought I might make myself a skirt for winter out of some suiting fabric that I had in my stash. I bought this years and years ago in Armidale, and I think I was going to make pants with it, but it's perfect for a skirt. And so I ended up making another Hollyburn skirt. And that's it here. It fits really well. I think I might have spoken about this last week, I can't remember, but last episode, I made a Hollyburn out of some really lightweight denim, and I don't know what happened, but I chose the wrong size. And making the second one, I was like, of course I wouldn't fit that size. I don't know, I kind of just wigged out with the first one and made a really small size. I can still wear it, but it's tight on the waist and it's not that comfortable. So this time I made the next size up and it's perfect. It's so good. So it's got lovely pockets and it fits really nicely, and the best thing is it's high-waisted, so that shirt that keeps shrinking, I can wear it with this because it actually sits really quite high. So yeah, another really good pattern, Hollyburn skirt. I absolutely love that pattern. And then finally, the last make that I did last weekend, because it was a long weekend with Easter, was the Estelle Ponte jacket by Style Arc, and I'll actually put it on to show you. So now this has a waterfall collar, so you'll see what I mean with the cardigan that I was talking about that I'm designing. So it just kind of sits, you can close it like that, but it just, as in, you wouldn't want to do that with the jacket, but it has that front where it just cascades down. So this is it. It's coming out a bit dark, but I shortened the length of this by a lot. I think I took off 14 inches or something from the bottom. So the actual pattern, the length of it comes right down to your knees. And while that'd be nice in this climate, it's probably a little bit overkill. Plus also I suit things, my body sort of suit things that sit high hip. So I just thought for wearability I will modify the pattern a bit and shorten it. So if you are thinking about shortening this, it's really easy to do. I just folded up the pattern from pretty much, I think it was halfway between where the pockets are. So yeah, the fabric is beautiful. It's a Ponte knit. I got this from Tessuti in Sydney, and it's actually an Italian Ponte knit, and it's really beautiful. The colour is like this deep burgundy, and it's beautiful quality. It's so nice. The great thing about this jacket is basically you don't finish it off, so the edges, as you've cut them, you don't turn them up or anything, because Ponte knit and any kind of knit doesn't fray. So I had to be really careful cutting this out and made sure the edges were nice and clean cut. I always use a rotary blade. I find that gives a nice edge. I don't use scissors because I tend to chop. My technique's not great, but I find the rotary cutter's great. It's really quick, and yeah, like I said, it gives a nice clean edge. So yeah, I'm really happy with this, and this with this top with this skirt, it's perfect. It's like perfect winter outfit. So, and also the jacket goes really well with jeans. So yeah, and that was all of my makes. This weekend I have another pattern that I'm going to sew. Did I bring it up? I hope I did. Where is it? Alright, so this is the Alice top and dress, and it is from Tessuti, where I bought my fabric from. They have some really nice patterns. These guys are based in Sydney. I'm not sure whether they have a Melbourne shop as well, but yeah, they have lovely fabrics and really nice designs. So it's basically a yoke top. You cut out back and front, and then this little front and back as well, which is gathered. and it's self-lined, the top part, so you're cutting out 2 pieces and lining it. I went fabric shopping this morning and I got this fabric for the top. I had in mind, I really liked their fabric that they chose, which is in the actual colour photo, it's a kind of a white background with these baby blue stripes. I really liked it, but I couldn't find anything like that. But I did find this stripy fabric, and I'm trying to decide whether I want to mix it up like they have, so have the top stripes going that way and then the bottom stripes going that way. I'm not sure. I will have to see when I cut it out. But yeah, this is just 100% cotton. It's very light. But yeah, I thought with this top it'd be good in winter as well as summer, because you could wear a long top underneath and sort of layer it. And I'm also quite keen on next summer to make the dress as well. I think that would be really cute. I also bought some duck cloth, which is great for bags. And I bought this one, and I bought this one. I love this one. So I'm going to make a couple of project bags, and I have a huge collection of Japanese craft books, both knitting and sewing, and I have actually made a few clothes years ago out of the Japanese sewing books, and I've made bags as well. So I thought I might give that a go, and I'll just show you. I think it's in this one. I have quite a few bag books. Yeah, so it's this one here, which is called the Eco Bag. So it's very, very simple. And I'm going to do 2 of those, but I'm not going to line them. I'm just going to have them as is, I think, at the moment. I might have some fabric in my stash to line it, I'm not sure, but I'll wait and see. But also I found these cute little books when I was looking through my collection, and I forgot I had them. But these are really sweet if you're sewing and you have leftovers, because most times you at least have a metre or half a metre left after you've cut your pattern out. And these are books, it says "So Smart with only 50 centimetres of cloth." So these are great little books for using up leftovers. So it's basically squeezing in a pattern and laying out your pieces within a 50 centimetre, half a metre length of fabric. And there's stacks of things in here. There's cute little bags. They have homewares like, there's another bag. They have homewares and lots of different things like table cloths or table placemats and little mitts and all sorts of things. It's so cute. I just love looking through these books. What I really like too is, say for instance this one. So you have your bag, but also on the same metre, half a metre that you have, you can cut out a little wallet to go in the bag. So that's from half a metre. It's just so clever. You don't actually get patterns, but you... Oh, hang on, do you? What's that at the back? No. So for the smaller parts, like for wallets and things, they give you a little kind of pattern outline that you can trace off. But for the bags, they have... try and find a good diagram. They have it so that you can, like, you cut out a template according to those measurements. So yeah, I think it's such a cute idea, and it's really good. It's I always find with sewing, I find when I cut out my patterns and things, it just feels like there's so much waste, because I tend to throw out a lot of things, and I know you can keep scraps, but then I don't really know what to do with them, and I've got to store them somewhere. I'm not quite sure how to store the scraps, so I end up usually throwing them out, but I don't throw out half a meter, that's for sure. So yeah, if you're interested, I will put a link to these in the show notes at the bottom of the video, and you can go check them out. And yeah, if you have never tried Japanese craft books, go, and even if you're a knitter and you don't sew, just look at the knitting ones. I mean, they have these amazing stitch dictionaries as well, which are just fantastic, and of course they're easy to follow. That's if you can follow charts. They're easy to follow, so yeah, I'll put a link in as to where you can find them. And that, I think, is everything. So I hope you're all doing really well, and I will speak to you again in another 2 weeks' time. So yeah, happy knitting and happy sewing. And yeah, I mean, if you've got comments, or I meant to say, if you have any questions about dyeing or the business, I'm happy to answer them. The only thing is, don't ask me where I buy my stock. I've had a few people ask, and I've had to nicely say that that information I won't give out. But if you have any questions, please ask me. I'm happy to answer them. So yeah, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, see you then. Bye.